Could Ben Affleck have been one of the best versions of Batman? Zack Snyder reveals new photos of one of the biggest heroes in the Snyderverse. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Please like, share and subscribe for more. There were a lot of characters who suffered due to the inconsistency and later cancellation of the Snyderverse. Yet it would be hard to argue that any hero was treated worse than Ben Affleck's Batman. Despite Zack Snyder teeing him up as a key player in the franchise, his only major role following Batman v Superman was in The Flash, with his solo movie cancelled and his cameo in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom cut. Zack Snyder's original plans for the Snyderverse leaked years ago. And while they won't be covered in full here, suffice to say that the director had some major plans for Ben Affleck's take on the Caped Crusader. One of the biggest what-ifs that fans are aware about is Snyder's hopes for the nightmare reality, with the creative also sharing a new image of Batman's apocalyptic suit. Some of that missed potential recently resurfaced during Zack Snyder's walk down memory lane. The director has been posting photos from his past productions on social media, which includes never-before-seen pictures from the Snyderverse. One of the most stunning of these images showcases Ben Affleck trying on Batman's suit for the first time, resulting in him looking absolutely Olympian. While it's not likely that the Snyderverse will ever be restored on the silver screen, that doesn't mean it's impossible for Zack Snyder to finish out the story he had in mind. For years fans have been calling for the series to be finished by way of a comic book. Or, at the very least, adapting the script written for Ben Affleck's Batman so he can finally get the shot he deserves in the form of a graphic novel. Zack Snyder's Justice League is currently streaming on Max. Stay tuned for the latest news regarding the future of the DC Universe, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. DCU director James Gunn voiced his character in Rick and Morty and came face-to-face with DCU director Zack Snyder in the animated show. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Please like, share and subscribe for more. It was a sunny morning when DCU director James Gunn found himself in a recording booth for Rick and Morty, where he was asked to voice himself in Season 8 Episode 7 of the show, Ricker Than Fiction. Gunn wasn't alone, as Zack Snyder, the man known for directing DCU movies like Man of Steel and Zack Snyder's Justice League, was also going to be a part of that episode. The two would go head-to-head in the animated episode at the Warner Brothers cafeteria, where the verbal fights are devastating. While speaking with Variety, executive producer Scott Marder revealed that both guys were very good sports when they came in for their recording sessions. Zack Snyder and James Gunn also subtly implied that they both watched Rick and Morty during their downtime. Both of those guys sort of implied that this is the show they watch when they have downtime. So they were thrilled to get to be a part of the world, and there was no pushback or bristling. Marder continued, "If anything, they laughed at anything we threw at them. There were probably, frankly, even more digs and more silly things we could have used. All they did was laugh it off." Being a part of the Rick and Morty universe came with its perks and insults, as one iconic scene from the episode showed James Gunn and Zack Snyder coming face-to-face at the Warner Brothers cafeteria, and they talk about Gunn's upcoming film Superman. Of course, the dialogues were scripted and Gunn and Snyder were both aware of it. However, it simply felt good to see Zack Snyder teach something to James Gunn, even though the latter did not ask for it. James Gunn hops down to the Warner Brothers cafeteria to grab some food, where he runs into a jacked-up Zack Snyder eating a box of creatine for lunch. The two have some back-and-forth talk wherein Zack Snyder takes the opportunity to tease James Gunn about Superman. Well, since the two directors have joked about it, we think it's high time we do a comparison. Spoiler alert, Zack Snyder fans are not going to like this one. According to NRG, via The Hollywood Reporter, James Gunn's Superman is looking to open domestically in a range of anywhere between $125 million to $145 million. "Just saw your new cut of Superman," says Zack Snyder to James Gunn. "And word of advice, he's the Man of Steel, not the man of conversation. Do more shots of him punching." Snyder is obviously referring to how talkative David Corenswet's Superman appears to be in the trailer for the James Gunn flick. Although it was just a joke, Zack Snyder and James Gunn both took it very lightly and even added in some of their own punches which weren't in the script to create possibly one of the funniest banters between two frenemies in Rick and Morty. According to the numbers, Man of Steel had a debut opening at $116 million back in 2013. Considering the THR report, Superman will allegedly have a debut opening of somewhere between $125 to $145 million, which easily puts it at an advantage. This is a very rough estimate by Box Office Theory, which hints at the possibility that Superman might just turn out to be better than Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. Personally speaking, we do think that James Gunn's Superman will outperform Zack Snyder's Man of Steel because, unlike the 2013 movie, Superman is family-friendly and aimed towards hope and fighting spirit instead of Snyder's darker take on the reclusivity of hope and choosing lesser evil over greater. However, we'll know for sure when Superman debuts in theaters very soon, but until then, nothing can be confirmed or denied at the moment. Do you think James Gunn's Superman will be able to beat Zack Snyder's Man of Steel? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. According to the numbers, Man of Steel had a debut opening at $116 million back in 2013. Considering the THR report, Superman will allegedly have a debut opening of somewhere between $125 to $145 million, which easily puts it at an advantage. Zack Snyder remade George A. Romero's 1978 zombie flick and released Dawn of the Dead. However, Romero wasn't too impressed with it. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Please like, share and subscribe for more. Known as the godfather of the zombie genre, George A. Romero was very critical of the remake that Zack Snyder did of his 1978 film, Dawn of the Dead. Changing the game and upping the stakes, Snyder created his own version of the zombie flick based on Romero's work, and the Dawn of the Dead remake was released in 2004. Although Snyder found much fame and acclaim, Romero wasn't impressed, revealing to BFI that Snyder's movie lacked details. It's just like with the zombies. In Zack Snyder's remake of Dawn of the Dead, 2004, they're all dressed the same and are in running shoes. He continued, "First of all, they shouldn't be running. They're all in blue jeans and running shoes and that's it. But I try to make them nuns or..." The contention between the two movies comes from the fact that, although it was a remake, Zack Snyder did shift several things from the source material. Naturally, George A. Romero was not a fan of Dawn of the Dead when it came out. Zack Snyder remade George A. Romero's 1978 zombie flick and released Dawn of the Dead. However, Romero wasn't too impressed with it. Back in 2013, during an interview with The Telegraph, Romero revealed that Snyder's movie lacked depth. Particularly, the complete lack of social commentary in Zack Snyder's flick was a deal-breaker for Romero. Well, of course, with George A. Romero being the creator of the original flick, he would be critical of any director taking up his remake. However, for Romero, it seems that he was quite observant regarding the deviations that Zack Snyder made from the source novel. Probably one of the biggest enhancements that Zack Snyder did for Dawn of the Dead was that he turned the zombies fast. Instead of the slow-crawling zombies that were featured in the 1978 flick, Snyder